75% of people experience fear related to public speaking. Among every phobia, it is often ranked the highest, above spiders, snakes, and even airplanes. There's a common saying that people will literally choose death over it, and that's really just a single piece of the puzzle. Social interactions in general seem to have bizarre elements. Clasping someone's hand and shaking it definitely falls into that category. I mean, have you ever really thought about how strange it really is? Why do we even do it at all? In 2018, the then US president shook the North Korean leader's hand for the first time ever, and in doing so, shook the world.
The first handshake between a United States president and North Korean dictator, 65 years in the making.
Clasping someone's hand meant so much more than just that. It was symbolic. Why does it carry so much weight? The more I dug into it, the stranger it got. From dominance to biological warfare, you'd be surprised how deep the rabbit hole really goes. Nature develops characteristics based on the conditions of the environment. Forward-facing eyes are a prime example of that. To be a successful predator, you have to have singular focus, your eyes on the prize. We have developed that very trait. Humans are killers. They're predators. But obviously, we're not the only ones. Our hairy brothers and sisters are just like us. We share a staggering 99% of DNA with them, and they paint a picture of what it was like for us in the past. They might be able to illuminate the beginnings of a handshake.
One of the hardest things to make effectively was reflections.
The problem is, people like to think we're not similar to chimpanzees. We like to think we're smarter and more sophisticated. I mean, we are in fact capable of manipulating our environment in monumental ways. You won't find skyscrapers in the jungle. But there is a deep problem with this philosophy. Once you start to look a little more and peel back the sophisticated facade we've created, you start to see that chimps reveal primal instincts that are lurking within our own behaviors. Behaviors that we don't like to admit that we actually have. Like us, chimps are smart, sophisticated, and crucially, they are aggressive.
Then he just jumped and danced on it. And that was the end of it.
We wage war and compete with resources because we have an instinctive, almost primal drive to do so. To claim that there would be or you would like to have no more war would likely get you laughed out of the room. It's so ingrained in us that it's almost impossible to remove. Our social interactions are really no different. We only care about one thing: power. In many primate species, grooming is a primary way individuals bond and greet each other. Without a primary language, it's used to reduce tension in the group. Subordinate members will often touch or submit to more dominant individuals as a gesture of appeasement. If they don't, they go to war. You can even catch chimps and bonobos doing behaviors like holding hands, a gesture strikingly similar to the handshake. So, in a way, when you shake someone's hand, you're saying, I'm part of your tribe. I come in peace. But the nuances of how you actually shake the hand matter too. Because we are primates, hierarchy matters. The strength of a shake is often a subconscious tell, a way for the other person to read you. Are you strong and dominant, or are you scared and weak? But secretly, there's something even more hidden, something even more unseen. They often use the term theater in war. They do this because war is never fought on a single front. It's never that simple. And what I found is handshakes are much like that. There is much more going on under the surface, many more theaters. Dogs' noses are extremely strong. They have 300 million olfactory receptors in their nose. To put that in perspective, we only have 5 million. It's hard to imagine that they play any bigger role in our lives than to smell the food we're about to eat. But that would be a huge mistake. In 2015, a study by the Weizmann Institute revealed a strange subconscious behavior. It turns out we're not so different from the rest of the animal kingdom. Let's just imagine you were in the study. You walk into the room, shake hands with a stranger, and they ask you an array of questions. But none of those questions really mattered to the researchers. Only one thing did: a peculiar subconscious behavior that happens when you shake someone's hand. They found that the people that shook hands would frequently bring their hands close to their face and subtly sniff them. It seems that this served as a way of chemical exchange. The palms are rich with eccrine sweat glands. Why, you might ask? They play a huge role in thermoregulation, and they are also highly active during stressful situations. You don't even have to be in a stressful situation yourself. Just watching someone else be in one can trigger a sweating event.
My hands start sweating just talking to him.
Yeah.
Just like what he does, because it's like he's up 1,500, 2,000 feet, hanging on by his fingertips with a bag of chalk.
Just hearing you say it is making my hands
I
literally
know,
sweat.
dude.
Yeah.
His eyebrows are... Look at that. Look at that.
Oh my
Fucking
gosh.
Jesus Christ, man. That's so crazy. I mean,
Wow.
he's hanging by his fingertips.
This seems almost unbelievable to me. There's a secret pheromone communication. If I were to be devil's advocate against this study, I would say that there's some cultures where touch isn't a part of communication. How then could it be so built in our DNA? In Japan and other East Asian cultures, bowing is a customary greeting. A simple nod of the head is often used as a nonverbal greeting in other cultures as well. And overall, the truth is, those societies are more reserved as a whole. And that's just it. If you neglect nature, you are bound to experience symptoms. In Japan, there has been a notable increase of loneliness in recent years. A government survey conducted in December 2022 found that approximately 40% of respondents feel lonely.
Almost 40,000 people died at home alone in Japan in the first half of this year, and 4,000 of them weren't found for a month. Another 130 weren't found for a year. It's part of a loneliness crisis that's hitting Japan. Japan has one of the oldest populations on Earth and is grappling with low birth rates. By 2050, it's estimated almost 11 million elderly citizens will be living alone in Japan. At the same time, the birth rate is at the lowest ever recorded. So with more elderly people and fewer people to take care of them, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has warned the country is on the brink of not being able to function.
Do I believe that this is due to the lack of handshake? No, obviously not. That would be hyperbolic. But it is almost a symptom of the distance that individuals like to keep in this culture. They're not only emotionally distancing themselves, but they are physically as well. Lacking physical touch as a greeting shows how they operate on a broader societal scale. And it seems if we've learned anything from social media, no matter how connected we are, it is not true connection. Connection virtually feels fake, fugazi, and leaves a general distaste and void in one's soul.
You look lonely. I can fix that.
So something as insignificant as two hands clasping together can literally be dissected to no end. Really, it represents a universal truth. Humans are just more complicated the deeper you dig. The more layers you peel back, you will find a sophisticated bowl of human communication and ritual. Things that we do every day and we are not even aware of. Touch seems to play a bigger role than we can even imagine. After a pandemic and the world becoming ever more virtual, well, we need to stay cognizant of our roots. If not, we'll be lost as a society. We'll lose something fundamental, and really, we'll lose something human.